Hi, I'm Hannah. I run the Instagram account Nail&book and YouTube, of course, and I want to show you my process for making some press-on nails. This is the first time I'm doing it, so I'm not perfect at it, but my friend asked me to make press-on nails for her wedding and to take you through the process of me doing it. I have already started these, but I've learned a lot and done a lot of research on it, so I want to show you what I'm doing. So this is what I have so far with base coat. This is all done on regular polish because I do not work in gel, but I want to take you along the process in case you want to learn how to do it. So thank you for watching. Okay, so these are the tips I am using. My friend brought these by. She measured each of her fingers and then gave me a list of which ones we're using. So these are all organized. Oops, sorry. With, you can probably see it on the back of the nail tip. You can probably see there's a little number there. So this is a number 4. You can kind of see that. So she told me like what each finger was, and I took that into account when putting them on my stands. Alrighty. So this is the nail stand that I'm using. I will put a link below so you can buy it if you want. It was just really cheap from Amazon. This is not affiliated or anything, but each of these pops off. It's a magnet, so you can store it or pull it off to paint on. So in order to place a nail on it, I use just a tiny bit of blue tack. You don't want too much, but you want enough for it to stick. I'm using a tiny nail, for example. So you put that there, and then stick it on top. These ones are clear. Not all of the press-on nails are clear. And you can kind of see, push on it enough to get it to stick. With the bigger ones, it's easier. I just want to use a tiny nail, for example, so I'm not using the big ones that you could use. And just stick it there. Okay, first step is prep. From what I've heard, if you do regular polish, you do not need to prep. Gel, you do. Like buffing it out. I wanted to do some prep just in case, as these are wedding nails, kind of a little bit important. And the technique I found that was nice is I'm using just a Q-tip instead of Consop, but Consop would be easier. So you just take some acetone and put it on the nail. And you can kind of see, gosh, this would be so much easier if I used both hands. So sorry for this video. But anyway, you can kind of see how it gets cloudy. That's kind of what we want. Okay, and then once you've completely coated it in the acetone, you don't want too much, but this is enough to kind of rough up the plastic enough, right? So once you've got it kind of on there like that, I would take a clean side of the cotton swab, not the side with acetone, clean side, or a clean cotton swab to wipe it off. I'm going to do that real quick. Okay, if you can see now, it is a little less foggy. It is still a little foggy, but less than it was a minute ago before I wiped it off. And I'm just preventing all extra acetone from mixing with polish. And if you feel it, it feels a tad bit sticky, which is what we want. We want a grubby base. And then you can kind of see the top of this. This one doesn't have a big one, but you can kind of see a little plastic tab from when they cut it off the mold. So I'm going to take a cheap old nail file and I'm just going to file the top of it down. I would not use your nice nail files for this. I know some people get like non-nail file files, as I'm just doing this now, and I'm not planning on doing too many more in the future. I'm just using a cheap old nail file. So I'm just going to file down the top. I do that real quick. Okay, see, so I filed the top. The nail kind of moved a little bit as I didn't have it quite pushed down enough, but it should be good for now. So next step, after you filed down the tip and you've done a little bit of prep, is to start painting. So I'm going to show you the base combo that I'm using for these nails. Alright, for these nails I am using Holo Taco Rosemary Kill as a part of the base, and then after 2 coats of Rosemary Kill, I'm topping it with Cirque Chiffon. And it kind of warms up Rosemary Kill a little bit to get a perfect neutral base for me. Okay, ignore the mess. But these are the ones that I've worked on for her right hand. I labeled my stands with right and then a P for the pinky. Oops, did not mean to drop that one. So I know which side is the smallest, right? And then I have thumb, pointer, kind of going all the way down to the pinky, right? So these are not perfect friendships, but looking pretty good. And this one is going to be an accent nail, so that's why it doesn't have anything yet. This is what I have. The two brushes I've been using is this long skinny bristle brush from Holo Taco, and I think it's technically a cleanup brush from Orly. This is the Kelly Marissa collab, but I just take I'm using not Milky White from Holo Taco. Okay, so last we got one coat of polish on here and do a second coat. And I usually work from the back of the nail forward. This one's a bit messier than normal just because it's a smaller nail. There you go. I'm gonna let this one dry and then I'll come back for my jelly coat. Okay, so I have 4 nails here. I'm gonna show you how I'm doing the French tips for these. I'm only doing it on 4 of the 5 nails, but I'm gonna show you how I'm doing that. So also I cleaned off my desk. But first thing, I'm gonna take one off the stand. I'm gonna take not Milky White and just make a drop on here. The brushes I use for French tips, again, the long skinny one from Holo Taco. These don't have numbers or anything that I can tell. And then this little cleanup brush from Orly, it was from the Haunted House Kelly Marissa collab. So those are 2 I'm using, and so I usually just take a drop or 2, probably 2 for this bigger nail. On my cleanup mat. And then taking long skinny brush, kind of run it in like that, and then just very gently outlining. I kind of go one side and then the other side, kind of like that. And then I kind of take and run through the center a couple times just to run it out a bit more. And then taking cleanup brush, get it on both sides, and then I'm going to just paint this down. I'm sure, oops, I messed that up a little bit. I'll fix it. I'm sure there's an easier way to do this, but this is just what I am doing for today. Look at that. It looks kind of bad, but we're going to do a second coat and that really smooths everything out. So I'll be back when this is dry. Okay, and then for the final coat I'm doing on this little nail, again, is Cirque Colors Chiffon. And you can watch how this really, let me put it next to one that I've currently been doing. So you can see really the warmth that adding chiffon does. And that gives it the more neutrally color that I am looking for. So yeah, just like this is what this is what I want. And of course, this one is not for my set, or I would probably spend a bit more time, you know, going really slow and even coverage. So that's, you know, it's streak free and it's very shiny. And okay, now I'm going to stamp the ring finger. So this is the Holy Shapes collection number 13 from Moyu London, and I'm going to be using this swoopy one right here. You can kind of see it. It's kind of hard to show this part on camera, but this is the one I'm going to be using. So I'm again using not Milky White, and we're just going to stamp this. So first step is I like to take my stamping or my stamper and clean it off with a piece of tape. Just make sure there's nothing else on there, which we will do again afterwards too. And then we're going to put a big dot of polish here at the bottom. Take my card, lots of pressure, really fast, and there you go. It is on my stamper. I'm going to pick up my nail, line it up how I want it, and lay it down. That was not perfect at all. But that's how I do that. Alrighty, it's been a couple days and I have finished all of these, so I wanted to show you. I took them off the stands after they were 100% dry, had been dry for over 24 hours. And this is what it looks like. I just painted them as normal and put on a regular top coat, and I think they look great. I did stamps and freehanded all the French tips. They look a little goofy if you look too close, but from far away they are cute, and that's all that matters. One warning I will give is with the tips I did use, if I used too much acetone, it kind of made the end, which is really thin, a little wonky, but when I push it against my nail, it straightened back out, so it is okay. It will work still. It's just, you know, that's a warning I will give. Sometimes if you have to restart, it does that. So I attached some little pearls to them and did stamps, and I think they look great. So once they were dry, I just removed them from the stands, removed as much of the blue tack as I could from the back of the nails, and I will have my friend, whose wedding this is for, she's going to apply them day before the wedding, so I'm going to have her file them all on the inside to get any remaining blue tack and to help the wearability of them. So we are looking really good. This is how it looks. Alrighty, so that is the basic process of how I did these wedding press-ons. So if this was helpful, please let me know down below. Thank you for watching. I really actually enjoyed this process of making press-ons more than I thought I would. You know, this was my first set, and being tasked with making them for a wedding is a little intimidating, you know, so, but I think they turned out great, and we'll see what I make next. But thank you for tuning in.